It does. It looks wonderful.
All set?
You're
Okay,
ready.
go. You're going to set that
You
one
look
too.
marvelous.
You look marvelous. That one, are we just going to do when I'm sitting, I think?
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounded good.
Okay.
There you go. Oh, sorry.
So good evening. That's okay. Hey, hi, ladies. DeLaney Gabriel. I'm doing a presentation about hormones for women, and it's to know the benefits and the risks. So that's what I'm hoping to accomplish tonight. And I'll do about a 30-minute presentation running through some key things that I would want you to know. And then after that, I'm going to open it up to what I call Ask Me Anything, and more so anything about hormones. But if you do have questions about any health topic, I don't care. I'll answer anything. But knowing that we're all here about hormones, we'll kind of do that first. And Shelley, why are you over there in the corner?
Come sit next to me.
Yeah, come
That's
front and
the
center,
next
girl. Okay, so a little bit of background on me. I have some formal education. I have a lot of vocational education as well. I had some really good mentors in the field coming up, and one of them was Dr. Gary Gordon, who is world renowned. He was the doctor's doctor. He was one of the primary doctors with chelation therapy and cardiology and just a lot of things based in nutrition. So I was able to work with him, and he introduced me to some very key figures in the health world of holistic kinds of an alternative medicine. And one of the people was Dr. Jonathan Wright, who's still kind of the love of my life, and I tell him when I get to see him, and Dr. Alan Gaby. They are the true nutrition doctors, if there is such a thing in the field. Those guys are the best. And then, of course, Dr. Terry Hertog, who is world-renowned, fourth-generation endocrinologist from Brussels. So through the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine and through these key doctors, I've just had some good opportunities to be in sort of the run with the big dogs, Dr. Atkins when he was alive and that sort of thing. So just privy to a lot of the inside, what really works. And what a lot of it did for me is it drove me to some very key companies in the industry. So when I use supplements, I typically know the owners of the companies, or if they've been sold or handed down, I keep up with that. So that's been really good for myself and really good for my clients, having really key products. So what we're going to talk about tonight, metabolism of primary hormones. So the reason this is important to me that you know this is because all hormones really they start up here with cholesterol. So when people are taking cholesterol-lowering medications, Crestor and all the statins, then they typically have a depletion in a lot of these. So I look at this in a way like a river flowing downward. So we start with cholesterol and then pregnenolone. So the purpose of pregnenolone has a lot to do with the brain and the memory. So I have this saying, which is the body ages because hormone levels drop. Some people think that hormones don't matter, that they naturally drop over time, and they do. But in some of us, it can be like falling off a cliff. So when pregnenolone is low, again, think about the brain, think about the memory, because you show me somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia, and I'll show you somebody with low pregnenolone. So if we can identify these deficiencies and imbalances later in life, and we replace those hormones, people get better. If we can identify these deficiencies and imbalances at a younger age, as young as we can, then we sort of have our own baseline. And I like yearly monitoring to see when these changes occur. Because again, as the hormone levels drop, you will age. And then pregnenolone converts into progesterone, and it converts into DHEA. So here we have pregnenolone in the brain, and then for DHEA, dehydroepiandrosterone, so it's a steroid. All hormones are steroids, and all steroids are hormones. Just like castration is a bad name for a hysterectomy, so we look for the finer words, the prettier words. but these are steroids and these are hormones. So DHEA has to do with the adrenal glands. So back in the day, are any of you familiar with Hans Selye's work with mice and showing the connection between stress and death and adapting to stress? So what we found from those studies was that when DHEA levels drop, people can no longer handle the stress. So there are people, and you probably know them. I had one woman who is a client of mine, and her husband of 50 some odd years died, and she just kept on going. And after about 3 months, she was dating somebody quite younger. I don't know if he was half her age, but she was just this little ball of fire. And I expected that from her because her pregnenolone was good and her DHEA was good, so she could weather the storm. And then I had to compare another woman whose husband had died, and that was it for her. She was just done living. It didn't matter anymore. Her grandchildren weren't even entertaining to her anymore, and she didn't feel important. And that didn't surprise me because her levels were so low. Her estrogens were low, her testosterone was low, wherein this other woman who was 80 years old, who'd been on my hormone program, she was just ready. And what she said was that, we'll say Sam, would have wanted her to do this. He would have wanted her to live. And that was because Sam recognized that that's who she was, that she wouldn't quit living because of him. So it's having healthy levels of pregnenolone for your brain, DHEA for your adrenal glands. And these are substances that you can take. And for the most part, they're chemical or artificial, but they have a way of working within your body. And then cortisol, so progesterone goes into cortisol. So the beauty of progesterone, it has a lot to do with remaining calm under pressure, collected under pressure. And so if you have enough progesterone, then you can fill your cortisol capacity so that you can deal with stress. Because I'm sure all of you have experience where some people just manage stress better than others. The least little thing and somebody falls apart. And other people, you say, I don't know what they're on. I don't know what they're taking. It bothers you more than it bothers them. And then cortisol goes on to cortisone.